The world was quiet that night. Quiet in the way a planet of 8 billion souls could ever truly be. From the deserts of Australia to the bright lights of New York City, life hummed in its usual rhythm. Then, without warning, the signal came. Deep within the control room of the European Space Agency, technician Marta Devereux jolted awake as an alarm blared from her console. She frowned, rubbing her eyes, and glanced at the monitor. The signal was strong, impossibly strong, yet garbled, waves of sound that didn't correspond to any human language. "Hey, I think you need to see this," she called over her shoulder. In minutes, the small room turned into a hive of activity. Linguists, astrophysicists, and military consultants crowded around as the signal was patched through Earth's deep space network. What emerged was a message that sent shivers down every spine. "Help us. They are coming. There is no time." The signal repeated, fragmented and desperate. More alarming was its point of origin, a system 12,000 light-years from Earth, far beyond humanity's reach. Yet its contents suggested a crisis of unfathomable proportions. At the United Nations headquarters in Geneva, an emergency session was called at dawn. Broadcasts worldwide spoke of the message, and speculation ran rampant. Was it a hoax? A trap? Or a genuine plea from an alien civilization in peril? Commander Akio Tanaka, a veteran of Earth's fledgling space force, watched the UN debates with grim interest. He leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, as politicians bickered over the risks of responding versus ignoring. "They won't act unless they have no other choice," he muttered to Captain Sofia Ramirez, his second in command. "You think they'll ignore it?" she asked. He shook his head. "No. Humanity's never been great at staying out of things. But by the time they agree on a plan, it might be too late." Akio wasn't wrong. By the time the decision to investigate was reached, 3 weeks had passed. The world's top scientists had managed to pinpoint the signal's source, a dying star surrounded by the remnants of a shattered planetary system. Whatever disaster was unfolding, it was happening there. The mission, codenamed Operation Polaris, mobilized in record time. Nations pooled resources and sent their finest minds and most advanced technologies to form the fleet. Earth's first true interstellar expedition wasn't one of exploration, it was one of urgency and survival. As ships prepared to launch from Earth orbit, the atmosphere on the ground was electric. Millions tuned into the broadcast of the launch, some cheering, others praying. There was a deep understanding that this moment would define humanity for centuries. Commander Tanaka, a reporter asked during a pre-launch press briefing, "What makes you believe humanity can make a difference in this situation?" "We don't know what's waiting out there." Tanaka's reply was calm but resolute. "Because we are human. We face the unknown not with fear, but with determination. If someone is in trouble, we help. It's that simple." 3 weeks later, as the fleet activated its warp drives, leaving Earth behind, Marta Devereux watched the stars streak past the observation deck of the flagship Endeavour. A chill ran down her spine as she thought of the voice in the signal. "Help us. They are coming. There is no time." No one knew who they were. But soon, humanity would find out. The fleet's assembly was humanity's greatest feat of engineering and cooperation. Dozens of ships, ranging from sleek exploration vessels to colossal battlecruisers, were retrofitted or built from scratch. Every nation contributed, some out of hope, others out of fear that if humanity ignored the call, the same doom might someday reach Earth. Commander Akio Tanaka and Captain Sofia Ramirez oversaw the fleet's final preparations aboard the Endeavour, the flagship of Operation Polaris. The massive vessel was a testament to human ingenuity, a hybrid of military power, scientific exploration, and diplomatic outreach. Its central AI, nicknamed Athena, handled everything from navigation to tactical analysis. Final inventory checks complete, Athena's voice chimed, calm and composed. "We are fully equipped for long-range engagement, planetary survey, and first contact scenarios." Akio nodded, though his mind was elsewhere. The crew had been briefed, the ships prepared, and the mission's parameters defined. But the weight of responsibility pressed heavily on him. The unknown loomed ahead, vast and full of potential horrors. In the hangar below, scientists and engineers worked tirelessly. Among them was Dr. Elias Kane, a brilliant but eccentric physicist who had been instrumental in deciphering the alien signal. "This is insane," Elias muttered, adjusting his glasses as he spoke to Marta Devereux. "Do you realize how little we know about the sender or their enemy? We're flying blind into a war we don't understand." Marta frowned, brushing a stray strand of hair behind her ear. "Would you rather we stay home and do nothing?" "I'd rather we had more time," he snapped. Then, after a pause, his tone softened. "But I guess the universe doesn't wait for anyone." The fleet departed Earth orbit with a solemn send-off. Billions watched the live broadcast, their hopes and fears riding with the departing ships. Speeches from world leaders filled the airwaves, but none were as impactful as Akio's brief statement. "We do this not because it is safe or easy, but because it is right. Humanity has always risen to the challenge. This time will be no different." The journey through hyperspace was both awe-inspiring and unnerving. Athena managed the fleet's formation, ensuring no vessel strayed too far from the others. Crews adjusted to the artificial day-night cycles aboard their ships, filling the long hours with training, research, and moments of quiet reflection. For Sofia Ramirez, those moments often meant sitting in her quarters, staring at a photograph of her younger brother, Javier. He had died years ago in a failed orbital rescue mission, a tragedy that had driven her to join the Space Force. "Still watching over me, little bro," she whispered one night, her voice barely audible over the hum of the ship's engines. It was during one such quiet moment that an alert rippled through the fleet. Athena's voice echoed across every ship. "Unidentified spatial anomaly detected ahead. Dropping from hyperspace in 60 seconds." The fleet emerged into real space, and what they saw chilled every soul aboard. Before them lay the shattered remains of an alien star system. Planets reduced to rubble floated in chaotic orbits, their surfaces scarred by what could only be described as colossal weapons fire. A once thriving civilization had been reduced to dust and silence. The debris field was vast, and navigation through it required precision. Akio stood on the bridge of the Endeavour, his eyes locked on the main display. "Status report," he demanded. Athena responded immediately. "Minimal gravitational stability in the system. No active communications detected. Traces of advanced technology present among the debris." "Any signs of survivors?" Sophia asked. "None so far," Athena replied. "But I am detecting energy signatures consistent with alien propulsion systems. They are faint but suggest activity within the system." The fleet pushed deeper into the ruins, scanning for clues. What they found painted a grim picture: massive orbital fortresses, long dormant, and the skeletal remains of ships too large for human minds to comprehend. Then, a discovery changed everything. "Commander," Athena said, her voice tinged with urgency, "we have located a functioning alien structure. It is emitting a low-frequency distress signal." On screen, the structure appeared, a massive station partially embedded in the remains of a shattered moon. Its design was wholly alien, with spiraling towers and glowing glyphs etched into its surface. "Prepare a team," Akio ordered. "We're going in." The fleet repositioned, and a small task force was assembled. As the Endeavour's shuttles approached the station, Marta watched the eerie structure grow larger through her viewport. "Whatever's inside," she murmured, "I hope it's not too late." Inside the station lay the first pieces of the puzzle, a record of the alien civilization's desperate fight against an enemy described in their language as the Unstoppable. But even more chilling was what the records revealed next. The enemy wasn't just still out there, it was coming back. The alien station was a graveyard of silence and shadows. Its darkened corridors stretched endlessly, the walls etched with strange, glowing glyphs that pulsed faintly, as if holding on to their last remnants of power. Akio, Sophia, Marta, and Dr. Elias Kane led the small expedition team, their suits illuminated by helmet-mounted lights as they ventured deeper into the structure. Atmosphere readings are stable, Sophia reported, her voice steady over the comms. Breathable, but barely. Good, Akio replied, gripping his plasma rifle. Let's not get comfortable, though. We don't know what's waiting for us. Dr. Kane walked a few paces behind, his scanner humming softly. These glyphs, they're a language. Not entirely dissimilar to how humans conceptualize mathematical models. Can you translate it? Marta asked, her eyes darting nervously. Working on it, Kane muttered. But it's more complex than anything I've seen. The deeper they went, the more the station seemed like a monument to desperation. Burned-out consoles, shattered walls, and piles of strange metallic fragments littered the halls. In one chamber, they found towering statues, alien figures clad in ceremonial armor, each posed as if in defiance of some unseen foe. These people didn't just die, Sophia murmured, staring at the statues. They fought to the very end. It wasn't long before they reached the source of the distress signal, a massive central chamber filled with holographic projections. At the center stood an alien construct, an obelisk-like machine, its surface alive with shifting glyphs. This is it, Marta whispered, her voice tinged with awe. As Dr. Kane began interfacing with the obelisk, the glyphs flared brighter, casting eerie shadows across the room. One by one, the holograms flickered to life. Images of alien worlds under siege filled the air, cities obliterated by massive weapons, fleets torn apart in the void, and monstrous shapes consuming everything in their path. They called it the unstoppable, Kane said, his voice shaking as he parsed the translated text. It's not a species. It's something worse. Define worse, Akio demanded, stepping closer. Kane hesitated. The records describe it as a force, an ancient, self-replicating machine intelligence. It consumes civilizations, adapting to their technology and strategies. These people, he gestured to the holograms, they tried everything to stop it. Weapons, viruses, even collapsing stars into black holes. Nothing worked. The team stood in stunned silence, the enormity of the threat sinking in. But why the distress signal? Marta asked. Why ask for help if they knew it couldn't be stopped? Kane scanned further. Because they found something. A weakness, maybe. It's not clear. But before they could act, the machine fleet overwhelmed them. This station was their last hope, a beacon to anyone who might come after. Suddenly, the obelisk emitted a low hum, and the holograms shifted. A new message appeared, this one far clearer than the rest. It showed a map of the galaxy, with a glowing trail leading from their location to a distant system. It's pointing us somewhere, Sophia said. A waypoint? Or a trap, Akio added grimly. Before anyone could respond, Athena's voice crackled over the comms. Commander, we have a problem. Multiple unidentified energy signatures are approaching the fleet's position. They match the descriptions from the alien records. Akio's blood ran cold. The unstoppable? Affirmative, Athena replied. They will be in weapons range in less than 10 minutes. The team raced back to their shuttle, urgency driving every step. As they emerged onto the station's surface, they saw the enemy fleet for the first time, dark, angular ships bristling with alien weaponry, their movements eerily coordinated. By all the stars! Sophia breathed. They're here. Back aboard the Endeavour, the fleet scrambled into battle formations. Accio took his place on the bridge, barking orders as Athena updated him on the enemy's approach. Incoming vessels, 27 confirmed, with more emerging from hyperspace, Athena reported. Engage defensive protocols, Accio commanded. Keep them away from the station. We need time to analyze that map. The enemy ship struck with terrifying precision. Beams of energy lanced through the void, slicing through Earth's smaller frigates. The Endeavour unleashed its own arsenal, plasma cannons roaring and missile salvos streaking toward the attackers. On the bridge, the tension was palpable. Every hit, every maneuver, carried the weight of survival. Sophia's voice cut through the chaos. Commander, the station's defenses are coming online. It's targeting the enemy ships. Through the viewport, they watched as beams of alien energy erupted from the station, striking several enemy vessels. 2 were obliterated instantly, while others scattered, their formation disrupted. Looks like these people left us a parting gift, Accio said, his lips curving into a grim smile. All ships, regroup around the station. Use its defenses as cover. The battle raged on, but the station's intervention gave humanity's fleet a fighting chance. Finally, the enemy ships began to withdraw, vanishing into the void as suddenly as they had appeared. The victory was short-lived. As the crew worked to assess the damage, Marta approached Accio, her face pale. "Sir," she said, holding a data pad. "The map. It's not just a waypoint. It's a warning." "What kind of warning?" Accio asked. Marta hesitated, then said, "The next system on this map, it's where the enemy is building something. Something massive." Accio's jaw tightened. He turned to the bridge crew. "Send word to the fleet. We're moving out. If we wait, there might not be anything left to save." The stars outside seemed to pulse with anticipation as the fleet prepared for its next jump. Humanity's battle had only just begun. The fleet emerged from hyperspace into an eerie silence. The system ahead was unnervingly pristine, no debris, no shattered planets, no signs of war. It was a stark contrast to the devastation they had just left behind. A pale blue star burned at its center, casting light on a cluster of massive orbital structures that dwarfed any human construction. Commander Accio Tanaka leaned forward in his command chair aboard the Endeavour, his eyes narrowing as Athena analyzed the alien constructs. "Report," he ordered. Athena's voice was calm but carried an edge of concern. "The structures appear to be manufacturing facilities. They're producing ships, thousands of them. Scans indicate active power cores and energy levels consistent with high-yield weaponry." Sofia Ramirez frowned. "That's a fleet-building operation. They're not just preparing for defense. They're planning to expand." Accio nodded grimly. "And if we don't stop them here, Earth will be on that expansion list." Before he could issue further orders, the sensors lit up. Athena's voice grew sharper. "Incoming contacts." Energy signatures matched the enemy vessels encountered in the previous system. Estimated time to engagement, 6 minutes. The enemy had arrived, but this time, they weren't just responding, they were ready. The alien fleet materialized from hyperspace in terrifying precision, their dark, angular forms moving like a single organism. There were hundreds of them, each vessel radiating an aura of cold, calculating menace. "All ships, defensive formation." Accio barked. "Focus fire on any ship that approaches the station." As the human fleet adjusted, the alien ships wasted no time. Beams of searing light erupted from their vessels, cutting through the void with surgical accuracy. One of humanity's smaller cruisers, the Resolute, was caught in the crossfire and erupted into a fiery explosion. "Get those flak defenses up," Sophia shouted, her voice barely audible over the alarms blaring across the bridge. Plasma cannons roared to life, and missiles streaked toward the incoming swarm. The battlefield became a chaotic symphony of destruction, with human ships weaving through space to avoid the relentless barrage. Despite the odds, humanity's fleet held its ground, using the alien station as cover. In the middle of the chaos, Marta Devereux worked furiously at her console. The alien station's map had hinted at more than just the manufacturing hub, it suggested the presence of a command structure deep within one of the larger constructs. "Commander, I've found something," she called out. "That central structure, it's the control hub for the entire operation. If we destroy it, we might be able to disrupt their fleet coordination." Akio's gaze locked onto the display. The station Marta highlighted was colossal, its surface bristling with defensive turrets and shield generators. "How sure are you?" he asked. "Not entirely," Marta admitted. "But the signal patterns suggest it's their command node. It's our best shot." Akio didn't hesitate. "Athena, give me a firing solution for the command node. All ships, prepare to execute a precision strike." As the fleet shifted its focus, the alien response was immediate. Their ships swarmed to protect the command structure, their movements eerily coordinated. Human frigates and cruisers fought desperately to clear a path, their combined firepower carving through the enemy lines. One ship, the Lancer, managed to breach the defensive perimeter. Its captain, an old warhorse named Lieutenant Colonel Hayes, opened a channel to the Endeavour. "Commander, we'll hold the line," Hayes said, his voice steady despite the chaos. "You take that shot." Akio hesitated. He knew what Hayes meant, it was a suicide run. But there was no other choice. "Understood," Akio replied, his tone heavy. "Good luck, Hayes." The Lancer surged forward, its cannons blazing as it drew the attention of the alien defenders. One by one, the enemy ships turned their firepower on the human vessel, buying precious seconds for the Endeavour and its escorts to line up their attack. "Target locked," Athena reported. "All ships, fire," Akio commanded. A barrage of plasma and kinetic rounds tore through the void, slamming into the command node's shields. The station shuddered under the assault, its energy defenses flickering as the concentrated fire overwhelmed them. Finally, a direct hit penetrated the structure, triggering a chain reaction. The command node erupted in a brilliant explosion, sending shockwaves rippling through space. The alien fleet faltered, their once perfect coordination breaking apart. "They're scattering," Sophia shouted. "We've disrupted their control systems." The human fleet pressed the advantage, taking down the disorganized enemy ships one by one. Cheers erupted across the Endeavour's bridge as the remaining alien vessels retreated into hyperspace. As the battlefield fell silent, the cost of victory became apparent. The Lancer was gone, along with several other ships. Thousands of lives had been lost, but humanity had struck its first major blow against the unstoppable. Akio stood on the observation deck, staring at the wreckage of the alien constructs. Marta joined him, holding a data pad. "We've downloaded everything we could from the station," she said quietly. "Blueprints, battle strategies, even fragments of their code." "Will it be enough?" Akio asked. Marta hesitated. "It's a start. But there's something else. The data suggests this was just a forward operating base. Their main fleet, it's somewhere else." Akio clenched his fists. "Then we keep pushing. We've shown them what humanity is capable of. Now it's time to show them what happens when we fight back." The stars beyond seemed to burn brighter, as if urging humanity onward. The unstoppable had underestimated them. And now, they would learn the price of awakening Earth's fire and fury. The human fleet, battered but determined, pressed deeper into unexplored space. The data recovered from the alien station revealed the location of a massive installation, the nerve center of the unstoppable machine intelligence. If humanity could destroy it, they might have a chance to halt its expansion, or at least buy time for Earth to prepare. Commander Akio Tanaka stood on the bridge of the Endeavour, staring at the map Athena projected before him. The final destination lay at the edge of a dying star system. It was a place where even light seemed to struggle, the gravitational forces twisting space into unnatural shapes. The data suggests the installation is housed in a megastructure orbiting a black hole, Athena explained. Its power source appears to be directly tied to the singularity. Sofia Ramirez, seated at the tactical console, frowned. So not only do we have to fight their fleet, but we're also dealing with the gravitational chaos of a black hole? Exactly, Akio replied. And if that structure is as critical as the data suggests, it will be heavily defended. We need to be prepared for the worst. Dr. Elias Kane, standing nearby, adjusted his glasses. If the structure draws power from the black hole, destroying it could destabilize the system. We'd need to execute with absolute precision, or we risk annihilating ourselves in the process. Akio nodded. Then precision is what we'll aim for. Assemble the fleet. We move out in 1 hour. As the fleet entered the target system, the sheer scale of the enemy's operation became clear. The megastructure, a titanic ring-like construct, loomed in orbit around the black hole. It bristled with weaponry and docking bays, swarming with enemy ships that moved in perfect synchronization. Akio took a deep breath. Athena, give me a breakdown of their defenses. Primary defenses include long-range energy cannons capable of penetrating even our reinforced hulls, Athena reported. There are also several layers of shielding around the megastructure, each powered by separate generators located at key points along the ring. Sophia studied the display. If we can disable the shield generators, we might have a shot at targeting the core directly. Agreed, Akio said. We'll divide into strike teams. One group will engage the fleet and draw their attention, while another targets the generators. Once the shields are down, we'll concentrate everything on the core. The battle began with a thunderous exchange of fire. Human ships surged forward, their plasma cannons and missile barrages lighting up the void. The alien fleet responded in kind, their beams of energy slicing through the darkness with deadly precision. Sophia coordinated the Endeavour's firepower, directing its massive plasma cannons to punch holes in the enemy lines. Meanwhile, strike teams led by smaller frigates darted toward the shield generators, weaving through enemy fire to reach their targets. On the bridge, Akio's focus never wavered. Status on the shield generators? Team Alpha is engaging the first generator, Athena reported. Team Bravo is en route to the second. Team Charlie reports heavy resistance near the third. The comm channel crackled as Captain Daniels of Team Bravo called in. We're taking heavy fire, but we're holding. Generator 2 is in sight. Give us 5 minutes. Make it 3, Akio replied. We don't have time to spare. Inside the shield generator complex, Team Alpha faced fierce resistance. The alien machines guarding the structure were unlike anything humanity had encountered, sleek, spider-like drones that moved with unsettling speed. Marta Devereux, who had joined the strike team to assist with disabling the generators, crouched behind cover as plasma bolts zipped past her. How's it coming, Kane? She shouted over the din of battle. Dr. Kane, crouched beside the generator's control console, frantically worked to override the system. Almost there. These systems are ridiculously complex. A drone lunged at him, its razor-sharp appendages glinting. Before it could strike, Marta's rifle barked, sending it crashing to the floor. Focus, she snapped. With a triumphant shout, Kane hit a final sequence of keys. Generator 1 is down. Across the battlefield, similar successes played out. One by one, the shield generators were destroyed, their explosions sending shockwaves rippling through the void. On the Endeavour, Athena confirmed the breakthrough. The shields are down, Commander. The core is exposed. All ships, target the core. Akio commanded. Concentrate everything we've got. The fleet poured its firepower into the megastructure's core. Missiles streaked through the void, plasma beams carving into the exposed superstructure. The core began to glow, its energy output spiking dangerously. Inside the Endeavor, warning alarms blared. Athena's voice was calm but urgent. Core destabilization imminent. Estimated time to critical failure, 3 minutes. Pull all ships back to minimum safe distance. Akio ordered. The human fleet began its retreat, engines roaring as they raced to escape the inevitable explosion. On the view screens, the megastructure shuddered violently, its once imposing form collapsing inward. Finally, with a blinding flash, the core detonated. The shockwave rippled outward, a surge of energy that tore through the remaining enemy fleet and sent ripples through the black hole's accretion disk. Cheers erupted across the Endeavor's bridge, but Akio remained silent, his gaze fixed on the dying light of the megastructure. The fleet regrouped at a safe distance, battered but victorious. The destruction of the megastructure was a critical blow to the Unstoppable, but it was clear the war was far from over. Marta approached Akio on the bridge, her expression somber. We intercepted a final transmission from the megastructure before it went down, she said. It was a signal, to somewhere else. A fallback position, maybe. Or reinforcements. Akio clenched his fists. They're not done. And neither are we. He turned to the crew, his voice steady and resolute. We've shown them that humanity won't bow. We've struck a blow they'll never forget. But the fight isn't over. Not until the stars are safe again. Outside, the void was quiet once more, but the embers of war still burned. Humanity's fire had been lit, and it would not be extinguished. The human fleet limped toward the coordinates extracted from the destroyed megastructure. The signal Marta had intercepted led to an ominous location, an artificial system far beyond the boundaries of the known galaxy. It was a place humanity had no right to enter but no choice to avoid. Akio stood in the Endeavor's command center, gazing at the holographic projection of the system. The heart of it was a massive red supergiant, its light weak and struggling against the blackness. Surrounding the star was a titanic ring structure, another alien megastructure, even larger than the one they destroyed. A Dyson ring, Dr. Kane whispered, his awe palpable. Not just a power source. It's a forge. They're building weapons here, ships, armies, maybe even something worse. Athena's voice chimed in. Scans confirm extensive manufacturing activity. Hundreds of vessels under construction. Long-range probes also detected unusual energy signatures, potentially advanced weaponry we've never encountered before. Defenses? Akio asked. Heavy, Athena replied. Energy cannons, missile platforms, drone fleets. And? Her voice paused briefly, then continued. I'm detecting a signal that matches the core control frequency of the Unstoppable. Their central intelligence could be here. The bridge fell silent. Destroying their nerve center would be humanity's best chance to cripple the Unstoppable, but the risks were unimaginable. Akio turned to the crew. This is it. Their home, their source. If we don't strike now, everything we've fought for will mean nothing. Prepare the fleet. This is an all-or-nothing mission. The fleet's arrival was met with an immediate response. As they exited hyperspace, waves of enemy ships poured out from the Dyson Ring's hangars. The machines were larger and deadlier than anything they'd faced before, their designs sleek and predatory, like apex hunters crafted for war. The Endeavor led the charge, its plasma cannons lighting up the void. Sophia coordinated fire, directing the fleet to form defensive screens around their vulnerable vessels. Multiple enemy waves incoming. Sophia shouted. We need to push through before they overwhelm us. Akio's voice was calm but firm. Focus on creating a breach. We're not here to win a battle, we're here to end this war. The Dyson ring loomed larger as the fleet fought its way closer. The enemy's coordination was relentless, their tactics adaptive and merciless. Every human ship destroyed was replaced by dozens of new enemy vessels emerging from the forge. Marta worked feverishly at her console, analyzing the energy patterns emanating from the ring. "Commander, I've found something," she called out. "There's a weak point, a central control hub embedded near the star. If we destroy it, we could destabilize the entire structure." Akio's eyes narrowed. "What's the catch?" "It's buried deep within the ring's defenses," Marta admitted. "We'd need to get a strike team inside. And the closer we get to the star, the more dangerous the gravitational forces become." Akio nodded. "Then we'll give them a distraction. Sophia, coordinate with the fleet. I want a full-scale assault on the outer defenses. Kane, Marta, you're with me. We're taking a shuttle into that control hub." The shuttle launch was perilous. Enemy drones swarmed around them, but the fleet's diversion drew most of the fire. Inside the cramped shuttle, Akio, Marta, and Kane prepared for the mission ahead. "Are we sure this is going to work?" Kane asked nervously, clutching his data pad. "Sure enough," Akio replied. "And if it doesn't, we won't be around to complain about it." As the shuttle weaved through the ring's inner layers, the star's immense gravity began to pull at them. Warning lights flashed as the heat and pressure increased. "We're almost there," Marta said, her voice tense. "I've locked onto the control hub's location. It's protected by an energy shield, but if we can overload it, we'll have a shot." The shuttle docked near a narrow entry point, and the team disembarked into the belly of the beast. The corridors of the control hub were alien yet familiar, echoing the designs they had seen in the previous stations, but here, everything pulsed with a cold, calculated malice. Inside the hub, the team encountered fierce resistance. Advanced drones, armed with plasma weaponry, attacked in coordinated waves. Akio led the charge, his plasma rifle barking as he cleared a path for Marta and Kane. "How much farther?" he shouted over the noise. "Just ahead," Marta replied. "The main control terminal is through that chamber." The chamber was a massive, circular room dominated by a central console that pulsed with energy. Around it, glowing conduits fed power from the Dyson ring directly into the hub systems. Marta and Kane rushed to the console while Akio held the perimeter. The drones were relentless, and Akio's ammunition was running low. "Whatever you're doing, do it faster," he yelled. "I'm working on it." Marta snapped, her fingers flying over the alien interface. Kane suddenly gasped. "Commander, the Central Intelligence, it's here. Or at least part of it. It's watching us." As if to confirm his words, the room shuddered, and a deep, synthetic voice echoed through the chamber. "Foolish organics. You delay the inevitable. Your resistance is nothing more than a fleeting anomaly." Akio fired another burst at the encroaching drones. "Yeah, well, this fleeting anomaly is about to ruin your day." Finally, Marta shouted, "Got it. Overloading the core now." The conduits flared, and the room was bathed in blinding light. The central console erupted in sparks as the overload spread through the ring systems. "Move!" Akio ordered. The team sprinted back to the shuttle as explosions rippled through the structure. The human fleet watched from a safe distance as the Dyson ring began to collapse. Sections of the massive structure broke apart, spiraling into the red star. The gravitational forces triggered a chain reaction, and the star itself began to implode. "Commander," Athena reported, her tone triumphant. "The structure is gone. And the energy signatures of the enemy vessels are fading. Their network is collapsing." Cheers erupted across the fleet, but Akio's expression remained somber. "This isn't over," he said quietly. "We've hurt them, but we haven't killed them. Not yet. Outside, the dying star burned brighter than ever, a final flare before fading into darkness. Humanity had struck another blow, but the final battle was still to come. The remnants of the human fleet drifted in formation outside the dying star system, watching as the Dyson Ring's remains spiraled into the black hole. The enemy's network was in disarray, their coordination shattered. But deep in the void, a faint signal persisted, one that hadn't been fully silenced. Athena's voice broke the tense silence on the Endeavor's bridge. "Commander, I've isolated the signal. It's broadcasting from a point outside the system. Based on its trajectory and energy profile, it's the core intelligence. The true heart of the unstoppable." Commander Akio Tanaka straightened, his expression hardening. "This is our chance. We've crippled their infrastructure, dismantled their forges. But if we don't destroy that core, they'll rebuild." Sofia Ramirez, still at the tactical console, looked up. "If we follow that signal, we might not come back. The fleet is barely holding together as it is." Akio turned to face his crew. "We've made it this far because we refuse to back down. Every sacrifice, every battle, it's led us here. If we don't finish this now, we might not get another chance. Athena, set course for the signal. Prepare all ships for the final engagement." The signal led them to a desolate void at the edge of the galaxy, where even starlight seemed reluctant to tread. There, hidden in the darkness, was the source of the signal, a massive artificial sphere, its surface covered in glowing veins of energy. The structure was alive with power, pulsing like a mechanical heart. Marta Devereux studied the display on her console. "That's it. The core. If we destroy this, we'll sever their control over everything." Athena interjected. "Be advised, Commander. Energy readings suggest this structure is not only a command hub but also a weapon. If activated, it could wipe out every ship in this fleet." Akio's jaw tightened. "Then we hit it before it has a chance to fire. All ships, engage on my mark." The enemy was waiting. As the fleet approached, a swarm of drones emerged from the core, forming a defensive wall. These drones were unlike any the fleet had faced before, faster, deadlier, and seemingly immune to the tactics that had worked in previous battles. The human fleet surged forward, plasma cannons blazing. Missiles streaked through the darkness, detonating in brilliant bursts as they collided with the drone swarm. Akio barked orders, coordinating with Sophia to keep the fleet from being overwhelmed. "This isn't working," Sophia shouted. "There are too many of them." Marta's voice cut through the chaos. "I've analyzed the sphere's energy patterns. There's a weak point at the southern pole, a conduit leading directly to the core. If we hit it, we can overload the entire structure." Akio nodded. "All ships, concentrate fire on the southern pole. Clear a path for the Endeavor." The Endeavor and its escorts broke through the drone swarm, their combined firepower carving a path toward the sphere. The closer they got, the more intense the enemy's resistance became. Plasma beams raked across the Endeavor's hull, and warning alarms blared as systems began to fail. Inside the ship, Dr. Kane worked frantically to stabilize the damaged systems. "We can't take much more of this," he shouted. "We don't have to," Akio replied. "Athena, prepare the main cannon. Marta, guide our targeting systems. We only get one shot at this." The Endeavor lined up its approach, the southern pole of the sphere glowing like a bullseye. The ship's main cannon, a prototype plasma weapon designed for planetary sieges, hummed with power as it charged. "Target locked," Athena reported. "Fire!" Akio commanded. The cannon unleashed a massive blast of energy, striking the southern pole with devastating force. The sphere shuddered, its surface rippling as the energy conduit ruptured. The core's reaction was immediate. The veins of energy covering the sphere began to overload, sparks of light erupting across its surface. The drones faltered, their movements becoming erratic as the core's control systems collapsed. Athena's voice was urgent. Core destabilization imminent. Estimated time to total destruction, 60 seconds. Accio shouted into the comms. All ships, full retreat. Get clear of the blast radius. The human fleet turned and fled, engines roaring as they raced to escape the impending explosion. Behind them, the sphere's glow intensified, becoming a blinding white light. With a deafening silence that seemed to swallow the void, the core detonated. The shockwave rippled outward, tearing apart the remnants of the drone swarm and sending debris hurtling into the darkness. The fleet regrouped at a safe distance, the battered ships floating in the quiet void. On the Endeavour, the crew sat in stunned silence, the weight of what they had accomplished beginning to sink in. Athena broke the silence. The signal is gone. The core is destroyed. Their network has collapsed. Cheers erupted across the bridge, but Accio remained seated, his expression thoughtful. Sophia approached him. We did it, Commander. We won. Accio nodded slowly. We did. But at what cost? The losses were staggering. Half the fleet was gone, countless lives sacrificed to achieve this victory. Yet for the first time in what felt like an eternity, there was hope. Back on Earth, the news of the fleet's triumph spread like wildfire. The stars, once crying out in despair, were now silent, their tormentors destroyed. Humanity had answered with fire and fury, and in doing so, had secured its place among the stars. Accio stood on the observation deck of the Endeavour, staring at the endless void. The war was over, but the future remained uncertain. Humanity had proven its strength, its resilience, but it had also awakened to the vastness of the universe and the challenges that lay ahead. He turned to Marta, who stood beside him. Do you think we'll ever find peace out here? Marta smiled faintly. Maybe. But if we don't, at least we know we can fight for it. As the fleet set course for home, the stars ahead seemed to burn a little brighter. Humanity had answered the call, and it would never be silenced again.